What are the scariest crimes that's been happening in 2023? Let's find out, starting with number 6, a squatting situation. If you're a landlord, you're gonna want to watch out for squatters. Mikiya Barber, who's in the Army Reserves, faced a costly situation when Natasha Timmons, a squatter, took over her Houston home when she was called up for active duty. This caused Barber to lose roughly $50,000 total in lost rent and legal fees while dealing with Timmons. Barber had bought her 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom Houston home in the spring and had rented it to Timmons when she was deployed to active duty in Florida in the fall. Timmons initially signed a lease and paid $2,000 for the first 2 months of her tenancy. However, Timmons made exactly 0 rent payments and she refused to vacate the property. Despite Barber's attempts to reach agreements with her, Timmons remained in the house and the situation deteriorated. And it's not like she had just fallen on hard times and didn't have the money or something. Timmons has been spotted driving a late model Mercedes SUV. During her court hearing, a judge ordered Timmons to repay the overdue rent, with another hearing scheduled later that year. The crazy part is, because of bureaucratic red tape, Timmons still hasn't even received an eviction notice. As it turns out, Timmons also has a prior theft conviction before all this. Is that an indicator of whether or not someone would commit a crime in the future? Probably not, but doing a little checking may have helped. Number 5. InstaCart Scammers. Here's a scary scam that can happen with buying groceries for delivery. Jill McCormick had been eagerly awaiting her digital Kroger order at her suburban Cincinnati home when she received a startling message. Her bank account had been charged almost $2,800. The friendly Instacart shopper assigned to pick up her groceries went by the name of Danielle. Danielle had told McCormick via text that the store had run out of her preferred energy drink flavor and asked if she could substitute with another. McCormick had approved the change via text. The next thing she knows, McCormick gets a notification about the $2,800 charge. So of course she freaks out, but was quickly reassured by Danielle that it was a mistake that was easily fixed. But when McCormick later asked for an update about the charge, there were no more replies. So she reached out to both Kroger and Instacart, eventually reaching both after about an hour of online chats and toll-free hotlines, which, you know how that goes. The customer service line is always buried. Shout out in the comments if you agree. Unfortunately, the money had disappeared from McCormick's account, and one expert suggested that this incident might be the work of an organized retail theft ring. A simple web search reveals a similar incident involving a Kroger order using Instacart that occurred in suburban Columbus, Ohio, when a thief claimed to have stolen from hundreds of victims. The Cincinnati-based supermarket giant Kroger offers home delivery through its growing in-house service, but also via outside delivery vendors such as Instacart. One former Kroger worker even claimed in TikTok posts that her old store was using Instacart shoppers that were a bunch of scammers. Neither company has explained how a scammer intercepted a Kroger order that began on Kroger's app. It appears either Kroger or Instacart unwittingly gave the order to a thief, or the scammer exploited a security breach. McCormick's shopper canceled all the items of her original order and drained her bank account to purchase several items that she didn't order and never received. At least Kroger said it's refunding the money and will also provide a gift card to McCormick for the inconvenience, so it's nice to see one of these places do the right thing. While Kroger provides home deliveries around the country using its delivery force sent from warehouses, it also augments services using San Francisco-based delivery service Instacart, who hires outside contractors. McCormick said her order began on the Kroger app but was assigned to Instacart. McCormick realizes she made one careless mistake with her online order. She used her debit card, which is always a big no-no just in the event of fraud. She normally uses her credit card, but McCormick said that she had grown comfortable just using the Kroger app. It's worth saying twice to always remember to always use a credit card for any online orders, just in case of scammers. Or just go get your own groceries, like we used to in the old days. Number 4. It's all Greek to me? Nah. Can we all remember to not get any mixed drinks in unfamiliar places when we're on vacation? Several bars in the popular Greek party town of Kavos on the island of Corfu were closed down after authorities suspected them of tax evasion and selling potentially smuggled or tampered alcohol. And by that we mean used drinks. The Independent Public Revenue Authority of Greece, along with local police officers, conducted an operation on the bars of Kavos to check if they were registering all transactions and if the alcohol was clean and legal. They found that 26 catering businesses hadn't issued roughly 40,000 receipts, amounting to roughly $286,000. Furthermore, 7 catering establishments were found to be serving drinks without lot number markings, suggesting potential smuggling or reuse of the alcohol. It was revealed that some of these bars had a practice of collecting unfinished drinks from customers and storing them in barrels to serve to other patrons as shots. Can it get any less sanitary? Wait, don't answer that in the comment section. Kavos is a popular party destination for tourists and had been informally considered a no-go zone for inspections for many years, according to Greek news agencies. The closure of these bars came in the wake of an investigation into the passing of a young tourist, Hannah Byrne, in Kavos. Authorities are still trying to figure out the exact cause of her unfortunate passing. The answer lies in the toxicology tests that haven't been completed as of the release of this video. And back in our day, all the old drinks dumped into one vat was called dishwater. If you drank it, it's because you lost a bet. Shout out in the comments. What did you call it? Number 3. Granny theft. A 65-year-old grandmother in the UK, who was only identified as Lou, has confessed to shoplifting luxury items on behalf of wealthy clients. Just remember, criminals come in all ages, shapes, and sizes. Lou earned up to £500 a day from her illegal activities. Her brazen thefts include stealing items such as steak, lobster, champagne, Egyptian cotton sheets, and even 14-pound dog treats. She claimed to have around 60 clients, many of whom reside in upscale areas of London. Lou said that her clients, whom she refers to as tight poshos, which is apparently British slang for cheap, posh people, turn to her when they want to save money. Even though her clients aren't exactly short on money, they still want to save where they can because of rising fees such as private schools or mortgages. She said that these clients, despite their affluence, often haggle over prices and are careful with their spending. Lou, a grandmother of 5, said she began her shoplifting activities as a service to 4 or 5 clients, but quickly expanded to 60 as word of mouth spread. She typically targets high-end stores like Harvey Nichols and Harrods, but she also steals from retailers such as Marks and Spencer. She mentioned that her clients often request luxury items such as premium vodka and expensive champagne, with some clients instructing her to get as many bottles as she could. Lou attributed her decision to turn shoplifting because of her husband's passing and the financial troubles that arose as a result. Her illegal business only expanded rapidly from there. While Lou has been caught multiple times, she says she simply attributed her forgetfulness to non-payment. So, is Lou actually remorseful? The short answer is no. She defended her choices, saying that it's her decision and those who judge her aren't forced to buy stolen items from her, which is probably the exact same logic dealers use. So you're not exactly in the best company, Lou. Number 2, a toll to be paid. When we think we're invincible, that's exactly when we're most vulnerable. Accountant Diana Nikitenko, a mother of 3 from Australia who lives in Sydney's eastern suburbs, fell victim to a scam that cost her roughly $3,000. It all started when she received a simple text message from someone claiming to be from the road toll operator linked. This would be like getting a text message from someone claiming to be from Fast Track or SunPass. The rep said that Diana had a failed payment for a toll charge and needed to settle it. Having recently used Linked, Diana believed the message was legitimate. She clicked on the provided link, which looked convincing. The next day, she discovered $3,000 had disappeared from her account in mysterious purchases from Sephora. Sounds like Linked was trying to impress someone on a first date. Diana quickly contacted her bank to dispute the transactions. She admits that she's hyper aware of scams and that she's actively looking out for them, but she had let her guard down when the coincidence of her having used Link very recently happened. Remember, don't click on links in unexpected messages and look for typos or grammatical errors. If you actually really want to follow up, look up the number for any supposed company that's contacting you directly on the internet and then go through the official contact info find yourself. If you're enjoying this video, be sure to stay tuned right here to find out how she was born into a life of scamming. Number 1, trusting TSA. We've covered TSA officers before, but because of how brazen the theft that was captured on newly released video footage is, we had to cover them again. Surveillance footage released revealed 2 TSA officers, Josu Gonzalez and Liberius Williams, allegedly stealing at least $600 in cash and other items from passengers' luggage at Miami International Airport. The two TSA workers were arrested after an investigation into theft claims at the checkpoint. Video footage from the checkpoint shows the alleged thieves stealing money from wallets and purses as passengers passed through the X-ray machine. The thefts occurred while passengers were focused on the screenings and not paying attention to their belongings. Gonzalez and Williams, along with their co-worker Elizabeth Fuster, were arrested on charges related to an organized scheme to defraud. Fuster's charges were dropped, while both Gonzalez and Williams have pleaded not guilty to third-degree felony grand theft charges. Gonzalez entered a deferred prosecution program, which could result in his charges being dropped upon completion, but he has to pay $700 to the identified victims, complete 25 hours of community service, and relinquish his airport credentials. Williams was not accepted to the program, so he has to stand trial. Gonzalez and Williams both admitted to a bunch of thefts, supposedly averaging almost $1,000 per day when they were working together. Here's a reminder to always have the cash in your pocket or in your hand when you're going through security at the airport. We hope we don't need to tell you to not put cash or any valuables in checked luggage. These types of thefts likely happen all the time. The officers just don't get caught. Danielle Miller is an Instagram influencer with a large following. She's known for her glamorous, jet-setting lifestyle. She posted photos at luxury California hotels and on first-class international flights. But Miller's utopia came to a screeching halt when she was arrested on charges of wire fraud. She was accused of stealing the identity of a Massachusetts resident to open a bank account and apply for a COVID-19 small business relief loan worth more than $100,000. She used this money, which was intended for struggling businesses during the pandemic, to fund her expensive habits. Court documents showed that she charged her $5,000 luxury hotel bill from the Petit Hermitage to the fraudulent bank account and then posted a photo with a geotag for the location. Prosecutors took Miller's Instagram photos, which she once used for likes and attention, and used them against her, proving how she used the money for the wrong reasons. If convicted, Miller faces a $250,000 fine and up to 20 years in prison. But this isn't the first time she's gotten into trouble for scamming, and it certainly won't be the last. Miller comes from wealthy Manhattan parents and grew up in an apartment next to the Ritz-Carlton overlooking Central Park. Her father, Michael Miller, was a real estate attorney and former president of the New York State Bar Association. Her mother was a Rockette for 20 years before she became a full-time stay-at-home mom. Miller first realized her love for attention at the prestigious Horus Man school. It was 2004. Miller was in 8th grade when her crush dared her via AOL Instant Messenger to prove she wasn't prude. She grabbed her Swiffer mop and pressed record. She sent 3 videos to the boy, who sent them to his best friend. Soon enough, the entire school had seen the videos, and Miller had a new nickname, Swiffer Girl. She had attended Horus Man since she was 2 years old, but it took only a few seconds of video footage to completely change her reputation. People whispered about her. Parents told their children not to invite her over. Miller was so embarrassed that she stayed home for a week and debated switching schools. But she didn't. By 9th grade, Miller decided to ditch her nice, quiet girl identity and embrace her new reputation. She got a fake ID and started drinking and partying. Miller remembers herself as Horus Man's it girl. For her sweet 16, her parents threw her a huge party and hired a Rod Stewart impersonator to sing Hot Legs. Miller's friends said she tried to pass him off as the real Rod Stewart, which she denies. Another friend claimed Miller lied about her father owning their apartment building. Her friends quickly caught on to her constant lies. Miller even admitted it, and this is just the beginning. beginning. Desperate to escape the reputation that followed her through high school, she moved across the country for college, enrolling at Arizona State University. When she told people she went to Horus Man, they asked if she knew Swiffer Girl. A fraternity brother told the entire school about her in a university-wide email. Someone shoved a letter under her dorm room door saying that they knew about her past. She graduated from ASU in 2012 and moved to Los Angeles, living at the Hollywood Roosevelt Hotel in a pool cabana suite and working various PR jobs. She started dating a rich DJ and mingling with celebrities like Paris Hilton, David Arquette, Pharrell, and Skrillex. By 2013, Miller found herself with a new group of friends, including socialite Quentin Esme Brown. Brown climbed up the fame ladder herself, marrying reality TV star P.C. Peterson, the grandson of the founder of the private equity firm Blackstone. At their Las Vegas wedding, Tiffany Trump was their flower girl. One day, Brown got an angry phone call from her mother about a $20,000 credit card bill. Brown went to the bank and asked them to print out all of the checks written from her account in the past month. 5 of the checks were made out to Danielle Miller. Brown's mother called Miller's father, who cut her off from any further financial support and returned her leased Mercedes to the dealership. Still, she continued spending wildly on designer bags and expensive dinners. Hoping to get her life back on track, Miller applied and was accepted to Pepperdine University Law School in 2016. The summer after her first year, she moved to New York City, where she secured an internship with a family friend and New York Justice. She was good at the job, but continued her spending habits. She used her stolen credit card information to go to the Body Factory salon on the Upper West Side. When the credit card was reported twice for fraud, the spa noticed. When she went back to New York for Thanksgiving and booked an appointment at the spa, she was met by the police. She was charged with identity theft and grand larceny. Miller tried to sweet-talk the arresting officer, saying that her father is the head of the Bar Association. She was interning for a judge, and she hadn't even made the appointments herself. Her assistant did. It didn't work. Her connections did help at court, but her law career was put on hold. At this point, her father said that he didn't want any contact with his daughter anymore. Her mother said she still wanted a relationship, but cut her off soon after. In California, Miller met Mackenzie Day, a model with Marine veteran working in marketing. He saw Miller's potential as a clever marketer and decided to launch a PR firm together. Day thought Miller's father was financially supporting her the whole time. When Day wanted to end the relationship, Miller tried to stop him by saying she was suicidal. Day called the police, who brought her to the hospital for a psychiatric evaluation. He was able to get into her email account and discovered that she opened several credit cards and took out business loans in his name. Miller denied the loans and insisted that she and Day took out the credit cards together. She stole nearly $200,000 from him and their friend. To this day, Miller continues to deny it. After serving as a Marine in 2 wars, Day still calls his experience with Miller one of the most insane he's ever had. A few months later, she was arrested at the San Diego-Mexico border after a birthday trip with friends. She missed a court appearance in New York for the fraudulent spa charges and was picked up on a warrant. She pleaded guilty and was sentenced to a year at Rikers Island. At Rikers, she met Sierra Blast, another scammer who was in jail for violating parole after being convicted of identity theft. Blast was first arrested at Bergdorf Goodman in 2015 for stealing people's credit card information to go on a $20,000 shopping spree. Miller and Blast became fast friends in jail. In 2020, when Miller ran into Blast at a restaurant in Manhattan's Upper East Side, they devised a plan. Miller would be the trapper and take on the persona of a stolen identity, while Blast did more of the behind-the-scenes work. During COVID, they flew to Miami and rented a 2-bedroom apartment. They went on joyrides and Rolls Royces and shopping sprees at Balmain and Gucci. That spring, when stores started opening again, Miller tried to withdraw $8,000 from a woman's bank account, which triggered Chase Bank call 911. Miller and Blast were arrested in possession with 3 fake driver's licenses and credit cards, 6 cell phones, and $25,000 cash. They pleaded not guilty. Miller went back to prison for the 2nd time that year. Blast bailed Miller out of jail, and she quickly got to work on a new scam. This time, she targeted the federal government. She hacked into the Massachusetts Registry of Motor Vehicles to steal 27 identities. Then she used people's information to apply for 10 loans from the Small Business Association, including the Economic Injury Disaster Loan. Several applications were denied, but one of them was successful. Federal government deposited $125,000 into a bank account Miller opened in another person's name. Over the next 8 months, Miller received 4 more loans worth nearly $1 million. She used another stolen identity to defraud Arizona out of more than $6,000 in unemployment benefits. Miller saw the COVID pandemic as an opportunity to kick her scamming expertise into motion. She denies learning any of her skills at Rikers. Instead, she did some internet searching and downloaded Telegram to join group chats that discussed where to find people's personal information. One time, she challenged herself to find Warren Buffett's social security number. She found it quickly. Using the money she secured through SBA loans, Miller led the extravagant lifestyle she craved. She She bragged about her Chanel, Gucci, and Prada outfits on Instagram. She booked private jets from Miami to LA, and where she spent nearly $6,000 at the Petit Hermitage, ate expensive dinners at the Beverly Hills Hotel, and drove a Rolls Royce down the streets. In Miami, she rented a swank, white, marble-clad apartment under one of her victims' name. According to Miller, she paid for everything with her own money and received DMs from scammers around the world begging to work with her. In May 2021, Miller got a Brazilian butt lift surgery and was recovering in the comfort of her Miami apartment with 2 private nurses and an OxyContin prescription. One day, she received a phone call from the front desk asking her to report to the front lobby. She opened her front door and federal agents busted inside. In Miller's apartment, agents discovered a Rolex, Dior blouse and shoes, Louis Vuitton bag, and Rimowa luggage, believed to be purchased with the SBA loan money. They seized $4,000 cash, $28,000 worth of money orders, several fake IDs and bank cards. On one of her iPhones, feds found emails between Miller, posing as someone else, and Chime Financial saying that she was in tears over her money being held hostage by the bank. She tried to book a private flight under someone else's name, but the company sent federal agents a photo of the license Miller used to book the reservation. The ID was a Massachusetts driver's license with Miller's picture, someone else's name. More incriminating evidence came from ATM security footage that showed a mask covering much of her face, but the signature wishbone necklace gave her away. Authorities also connected her to a zip car that Miller rented with yet another fake ID. In the car, agents found a government document with the name Danielle Miller on. So far, feds have seized more than $600,000 from Miller. While on house arrest awaiting trial, Miller decided to occupy her time with social media's newest trend, TikTok. She uses TikTok to show off her life against the advice of her probation officer. Despite being locked inside, Miller found new ways to draw attention to herself. One article from Model on a Mission magazine calls Miller an entrepreneur and philanthropist who started an organization to raise money for orphan children in Botswana and supports Miley Cyrus's Happy Hippie Foundation and Pepperdine's Micro Enterprise Program. But this article, which is full of praise, is likely a paid post written by Miller herself. Unknown to many of her TikTok subscribers and magazine readers, Miller is actually sitting at home all day with a bulky black tracking monitor on her ankle. In May 2021, Danielle was arrested and indicted on 3 counts of wire fraud and 2 counts of aggravated identity theft. Each charge of wire fraud carries a possible 20-year prison sentence, 3 years of supervised release, and a $250,000 fine. The aggravated identity theft charges each carry a mandatory 2-year prison sentence, 1 year of supervised release, and a $250,000 fine. She pleaded not guilty to all charges. Despite all of her scamming, Miller seems to be in dire need of cash. She posted on Facebook about an open room in her Greenwich Village 3-bedroom apartment for $1,200 per month. She offered to lease the place on a month-to-month basis with no credit or background check required. But instead of being intrigued by the beautiful apartment, commenters seemed to be more interested in the opportunity to live with scammer extraordinaire and Swiffer girl, the Danielle Miller. In late October of 2022, Danielle was sentenced to 5 years in prison for a separate charge of bank fraud in Florida. Her case was heard in the 12th Judicial Circuit Court in Sarasota, where Judge Thomas Krug gave her the max sentence. She still faces trial in late November of 2022 for her pandemic loan-related charges. Click to watch one of these next videos. Let us know in the comment section which option you would delete out of these 3 choices. Both your arms, $100 million, or that good old act of making babies.